Welcome back to another episode of The Gold Room, where we're taking our suppliers and mining service providers from the mic to the mine. Thanks for tuning in. Today we have Gavin from Hobson Engineering. Gav, thanks very much for coming in and taking the time to talk to us, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, let's get started. Hit me with the life and the times of Gav. Where did you come from? Tell us as much information as you can, mate.
Yep. So I grew up in Western Sydney, went to university in Western Sydney, studied civil engineering with a structural engineering sort of background.
Yep.
I started my career as a facade engineer, starting as a remedial engineer, fixing up older buildings, and then transitioned into newer buildings, glass structures, cladding, things like that. I did that for about 15 years, and then about 4 years ago transitioned into Fasteners at Hobson Engineering.
Awesome. So walk me through the process. How did you saw it on the ad online? Was it a CCAD for Hobson, or were you cherry picked by someone at Hobson to come on board?
I was recommended to apply, and I'm glad they picked me up when they did. I applied as an engineer. They didn't need it at the time, but they sort of said, look, as a dual role, you can be an engineer and a key account manager.
Awesome.
So, that was a bit hairy for me and with no sales experience as an engineer, but I picked it up. And
pretty bloody basic, the old sales, isn't it? As long as you have that information, as long as you've got the key information to be able to give that to your clients, happy days.
Yeah.
Well,
what I find works against me though as an engineer is I'll tell it as it is,
Yeah.
So, I'm not a salesman by heart, but I can make do.
Yeah, beautiful. Mate, tell us a little bit about Hobson Engineering. What are some of the key milestones and some awesome projects?
Yep. So Hobson Engineering's a company that's been around almost 90 years now. Started in 1935 by Ron Hobson.
Yep.
He started off making sort of roller skate bearings. Then sort of the world wars happened, so we transitioned into manufacturing all thread. All thread's what we were very well known for a long time. We started off in Alexandria, moved to Castle Hill in sort of the late 80s. Was there until about 2010, where we moved to Eastern Creek, and along the way we've picked up branches in Perth. We've got Brisbane, Melbourne. So now we operate over 7 branches in Australia, about 70,000 square metres.
That's a huge stock holding.
It's massive, yeah.
That's awesome. So Hobson Engineering supports a huge range of industries. Can you talk a bit more specifically about Hobson's role in the mining industry?
Yeah, so Peter Hobson, who's the CEO now, he understands the importance of stock holding. Obviously people need fasteners when they need it.
Yep.
It's not an item that's typically planned well in advance. It's not like a crusher or anything where in 4 years I'm going to need it, I'll order it now. It's always, I need this tomorrow or I need this next week. And he knows you can't sell it if you don't have it.
That's
so
right.
Make sure we've got the right product we need where we need it.
Mate, we're here today to talk specifically about the Chem Range, right? So obviously with your engineering background, you're the man of the hour. Tell us what we've got.
Yep. So we've introduced a new chemical range. Traditionally, we had a Mungo chemical. Now we've transitioned over to a Hobson branded chemical, which we refer to as XChem.
Yep.
So we cater for all markets. We've got the lower end general purpose adhesive, which is the Polyester. We've got a Vinylester, which is a good middle ground, a hybrid, which has a shorter working time in cooler environments, all the way up to a sort of a higher strength epoxy.
Awesome. So what was the R&D on coming up with your own Hobson product and moving away from the existing product that you did have?
It's sort of been established over a long time. We've dabbled in the past with different formulations. There's very specific. You can have tropical, which is for warmer climates. You can have rock for fixing rock and things like that. But what we find over time is the market sort of shifted into those 4 key chemicals. It doesn't deviate too much from that. What we find is there's a lot of sort of interchangeability between the different suppliers. So now our goal with the Hobson chemical is to make sure that we're doing it better than everyone else, having the stock we need where we need it, having all the information for each of the chemicals we have, and we're doing things like comparison charts and suitability charts. So you can walk in or download the literature online to find out what chemical will work for you.
Yep.
And then supporting that, we've got a anchor design software. So you can put an anchor in with loads, edge distances, things like that. More for the engineers, but it will tell you which chemicals will work for the loads you've got.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Mate, what's some of the standout features of the Chemset products? And how do they address specific challenges in the mining and construction industry?
Yep. So our lower grades, the polyester, the Vinylester, have a colour change technology.
Okay.
So it actually comes out of the gun blue, and then it will turn to a grey colour once it's cured. So that lets you know you can load it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome technology.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Probably the biggest thing for us as a supplier is the 300 millimetre tubes have an 18-month shelf life.
Okay.
So a lot of the other suppliers with their 300 millimetre tubes, they might only have a 12-month shelf life. So it gives us flexibility to make sure that, when we're selling to our distributors and our customer base, that they've got a long time to sell that product and they're not left with dead stock.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I guess that's really important too if you're working in the stores out on a mine site or wherever,
Yeah.
To know that. So if you're buying products in, it does have a shelf life. You need to be mindful of that. But having a longer shelf life means more
less wastage, yeah.
That's right, more opportunity to use it over a period of time. Mate, can you share some real-world examples of something either you've been involved in, utilising the Chemset range with clients out in the industry?
Yeah, so for us, it's chemicals very much a specified product. And what we find we come up against is there might be product specified from another supplier, whereas the subcontractor may want to use ours, or the distributor that the subcontractor uses wants to sell our product. So we offer engineering support behind that to say, look, give us the original specification.
And you'll be able to do a like for like.
We do a like for like.
Nice.
And, we tell it as it is. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If we have to upgrade you or go a little bit deeper, we can inform you of that. But yeah, what we find is if you just go back to the engineer and say, oh, hey, I know you specified this product, but I want to use this product, will that work? They're going to say no. They've done the work once. They don't want to do it again. They're likely not to get paid for that. But we're happy to do that work for you, get it over the line and, get our product on site.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mate, how does Hobson stay at the forefront of engineering? How is it staying with new products, new developments? What do you have in the way of making sure that the new products that you bring to market are technically supportive to whatever industry it may be in?
Yep. So we've got a team of engineers at our head office in Sydney. So there's 4 of us in total at the moment. But we're all about researching product standards, and a lot of the products we do are covered by standards.
Yep.
But we're also part of a lot of industry associations. So say for chemical anchors, we're one of the founding members of AFAC, which is the Australian Engineers Fasteners Council.
Oh, wow.
So we contributed a lot to that. And it was created back in the early 2010s with the sole purpose of creating a standard for post-installed anchors.
Yeah. Was Peter Hobson involved in that?
He
Led from the forefront?
Yeah, of course. And that's Peter's philosophy. I think, looking back when we first did imported structural bolts, it was 1996. We ordered from an overseas factory. We got the product. Peter decided to test it independently. It came back as a failure. We raised that with the factory. They said, look, we don't know what you're talking about. Everyone else in Australia that we supply doesn't have a problem with it.
And everyone else in Australia didn't do independent testing or have a testing facility on site, right? So they're just bringing stuff in, getting it out there to the client and not doing any testing.
That's right. And that sort of set our sort of rigorous test program. So for now, anything high tensile or heat treated has an independent test certificate to go along with it.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's very important. It's a peace of mind. I know that some mining clients they need to have that batch certificate that comes with all Hobson products.
Anything high tensile. I mean, there's a lot of products that will have a factory certificate associated with it.
Yep.
But we make that freely available on our website. So if you've got a general rule of thumb in an orange and white box, it will have an independent certificate. You should be able to take the heat number that's on the box, type it into our website, and you'll get the certificates for that.
Beautiful.
And there's no requirement for a login or anything like that. We want to make the certificates as accessible as possible.
Yep. Mate, what innovations in materials and product design are you most proud of that you've seen in your time at Hobson?
I think it would be new coating technologies. I think, traditionally we were, hot dip galvanized, zinc plated. Now we're seeing there's a lot more development in that space. So, we're getting a lot higher performance for not much more or more money, essentially.
So what sort of coatings are they putting on now?
So things like, with anchors, like screw bolt anchors, we're using a rust burt, which is sort of a very hard ceramic.
Really?
What we're finding is because they're super hard materials, there's always a risk of hydrogen embrittlement.
Yep.
So when you're putting a ceramic on there, then that removes that risk.
Okay.
And then things like, zinc nickel coatings are becoming more prevalent as well. So traditionally, say a zinc plated item would just be zinc, pure zinc with maybe a little bit of tin. Once you add nickel to it, then its corrosion properties sort of increase a lot.
Certainly in a hypersaline environment, like a processing plant, not going to last very long.
No, I think for something like that, I'd always recommend, say, a stainless steel.
Yep.
And, we partner with other suppliers overseas. Like Boomax is a specialist stainless steel supplier. They probably they do make the world's strongest stainless steel bolt.
Wow, that's a plug.
They've got they've got different grades depending on your requirements.
Yep.
But that's an ultimate solution. But,
Awesome.
Yeah, we can cater to all needs really.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Mate, sustainability. She's a hot topic. What is Hobson Engineering doing to support a more sustainable future?
Yeah, so for us, we're part of APCO, which is the Australian Packaging Covenant. So majority of our products are supplied in sort of cardboard cartons. We don't have any tape on it, so they're all fully recyclable.
Oh, awesome.
In terms of the product itself, steel's a dirty.
Not anymore, mate.
market.
Not with bloody twiggy forest at the helm. It's going to be green steel everywhere.
It's getting better, but I think still in its infancy. So we're doing what we can to try and improve that.
Yep. What about in regards to sourcing materials and reducing the environmental impact during manufacturing?
So we'll order in bigger lots. We're a fastener wholesaler, so that enables us to do that. I think in terms of sustainability, making sure the product is where it needs to be. So we'll get shipments, say, directly into Western Australia, and that just saves on freight. We're not sending stuff from the East Coast over
Sydney
here.
and then around.
So, what, and we try not to shift. So things like structural bolts, which are heavy, we're not really moving that if we don't need to. We bring it into one warehouse and then send it out from there.
Yep, beautiful. Mate, Hobson's known for its rigorous standards and rigorous testing procedures. Can you go into a little bit of that for me?
Yep. So in 2010, when we moved to Eastern Creek, we started our fastener testing laboratory. So that's a NADA/ILAC accredited laboratory.
What's ILAC?
So it's the International Laboratory Accreditation
Sorry,
Council.
mate, put you on the spot there.
No,
I
it's
see.
fine.
Awesome.
So it's
Lots of acronyms.
It's a lot of acronyms. So for us, NADA is the National Association of
Accreditation? National, or is it association? Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Go for it, mate. No, go. Do you know?
National Association of Testing Agencies.
Awesome.
Don't hold me on that.
No, I won't, mate. It's all right.
It's been NADA for me for a long time.
Hopefully someone in the comments can just be like, mate, what are you guys waffling on about? This is what it is. So hopefully we get it right. No. Someone else will tell us if we don't.
But so in Australia, it's been NADA for a very long time. It all flows through accreditation to a specific ISO 17025.
Okay. I've actually got a question here about ISO 9001 for Hobson. So, but anyway,
but 17025 essentially covers testing authorities.
Yep.
So ILAC just means that you might have an international equivalent to NADA that's accredited to the same level.
Okay. So when you're out there speaking to suppliers, or what are the end users, what are the clients requesting more often? Is it a NATA certification or is it?
Traditionally, it's been NADA, and it's sort of our job to educate them to say, look, yes, we've got the NADA lab in Sydney, but we trust our results from overseas labs just as much.
Yeah. So where are the overseas labs?
So for us, the bulk of our product will come from China, so
For sure.
we utilise some Chinese laboratories. Still for us, independent testing. So we land the product in Australia, we select a random sample, and we send it to the independent lab over there to get tested.
Yeah, that's great. certifications like IS 9001, how do these certifications qualify a process for Hobson?
Yeah, so for us, it's at the core of our operation procedure. We've very much built everything we do at Hobson around our 9001 accreditation.
Yep. Do you want to go into a little bit about that? A lot of people might see it written down, but what does it actually mean?
For us, it's a quality system. It's making sure that, everyone in the company is following a procedure. We've got procedures written for every process at Hobson Engineering.
Yep.
We might be able to bring in a picker in the warehouse, and we can get him up to speed in sort of half a day and get him off and racing.
Yeah, awesome.
Everything's regimented. We've got checks and balances in place. We've got customer complaints. If we've received any, we can have a process to follow those through to make sure that they're resolved and they're followed up with. For me, the most important thing, or the most amazing thing about the whole procedure and our sort of ERP system, is if the quality of a product is questioned at any stage, we can essentially look that product up and put it on hold straight away. And we might have some of that in the same heat that's about to be sent to a customer, but the packers can scan it. If we put it on hold, it'll stop them from sending it.
That's awesome. Far out. That's great technology.
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, what's next for Hobson Engineering? Is there any new products under development? Obviously, this is a new product that's just come out, but if this has already come out, you'd have one or two on the back burner. Is there anything that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, probably not specifically, but we're always looking for new product ranges to get into.
Yep.
I mean, recent ones we've done, we got into materials handling over the last couple of years.
What products do you have in the way of materials handling?
So your sort of grade 80, your grade 100
okay.
hooks. We've done lifting slings over the last year or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Hobson Engineering does lifting slings as well?
Yeah, round and flat.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
What we're finding is we're using our strengths as a wholesaler and, our sort of extensive footprint in Australia.
Yep.
We find that maybe some traditional suppliers of those products might be struggling a little bit with stock levels. We're happy to bring it in. A lot of our customers appreciate it, that, more of those goods they can put into their sort of basket.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a big benefit for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Gav, run me through the testing lab in the Hobson HQ.
Yep, so our testing lab in Sydney is NADA accredited, offers the full suite of testing. It's probably the most comprehensive fastener testing laboratory in Australia, but we're able to do all sorts of testing on all of our products. So we've got tensile testing machines, so large ones up to 100 tonnes. We've got smaller, say, screw tensile testing machines that'll do, say, 50 kilonewtons. We've got assembly test machines for our structural bolts to accompany the 2016 standard for the structural bolts. We can go all the way down to sort of micrographic inspection, where we'll sort of cut a screw in half and we can measure core hardness, case hardness, coating thickness, coating porosity. So very comprehensive there. We do a lot of verification testing for, say, the main roads authorities. So they're geared up to require additional testing, sort of in addition to what we offer as standard. But we'll essentially get the batch for the order. We'll pick random samples from that and do the testing that they require for those products that they need.
Wow, that's fantastic. So do you think your competitors are out there doing that?
Not to the same level. The other fastener suppliers will have laboratory services.
Yep.
I think it's important if you just check the accreditation. I don't think anyone's got as a comprehensive accreditation that we've got across all those different products and different testing that we can sort of offer.
Yeah, that's fantastic, mate. Mate, so here's a little curly one for you. What are your thoughts on Spec'd on site? Right, so lots of companies out there. I think it's old school terminology. Mm-hmm. Look, they still say it today, but I think it stemmed from the suppliers that would go out to a site and say, "Hey, listen, mate, we've got this is the latest and the greatest. You want to spec this on site and write it into your documentation, so this is all you can use."
Yep.
But we've said it before, we've seen it before. Once it's spec'd on site, the price seems to go up a lot faster than anywhere else. Yep. And, I think if anything's spec'd on site, all that you're doing is stopping other great latest and greatest innovations coming through. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a necessary evil. I mean, obviously designers need to specify something, and they're going to specify the products that are, front of mind. So, the suppliers that get in front of them and teach them about their products, they're more likely to be specified up front.
Yep.
Not to say that, customers shouldn't look at alternatives. There might be better solutions out there or more sort of cost-effective solutions.
Yep.
I'd say, you can utilise our technical team. We're happy to look at what's been specified and give you the sort of backing that you need to sort of flip that spec. As with anything, guys don't like doing extra work. So, if we can take that off their hands and do the work for them, we're happy to help anyone really flip a spec if it's desired.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good news. I know that, some of our clients turn around and say, hey, listen, it's changing. I certainly see a shift in people saying, look, we've had this spec'd on site, but it's now become cost prohibitive. Is there something that you can look at to lower our costs? And, I say, well, firstly, don't spec it on site. Certainly get out there and look at other options, And that's the only way you'll get through it.
And we might find that we have to flip the spec 2 or 3 times before it sort of kicks in and onto the site to say, look, obviously the subcontractors want to use this product, and then they'll know after a few times that, hey, let's just save everyone the hassle. We'll start specifying this alternative product instead.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. Mate, can you please give us an individual rundown on each of the products from the Chem range?
Yep. So we've got our polyester here. So we write in nice big writing here, polyester. We call this one P201. It's a nice general purpose adhesive based on a polyester chemical. We put as much information as we could on the label to give our customers the most informed decision on what they need.
Yep.
So
I'd look at the label before, and compared to other products that I've looked at, it seems like you've got a team that's worked really long and hard to get as much information onto that label as possible.
Definitely. So we've got a summary of all of the approvals for the chemical. So the polyester has the least amount of approvals, but we've got approvals, so it's suitable for non-cracked concrete, which is essentially general purpose. Most concrete is designed not to crack. Cracked concrete would generally exist on the underside of a soffit, where you're getting flexural bending.
Yep.
If you're fixing to, say, the top of the slab, chances are it's going to be non-cracked. Also suitable for masonry. Would recommend it for stone as well, for just general purpose fixing. All of our chemical range and the polyester has approvals for overhead applications, so you can install above. Wet holes and flooded holes.
Yep.
So a flooded hole means you drill a hole, you come back tomorrow after it's rained and it's full of water. You can just apply the chemical into the hole with the water. The water will displace, and then you can install the rod in.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. We've got curing times and gel times. So the gel time is how long you've got once you've put the chemical in the hole to work with it, put the stud in.
Yep.
And the curing time is how long you've got after you've placed the rod for it to set and then before you can load it.
Yeah, okay. What about the nozzles, mate?
So
they're a bit tricky, aren't they?
Yes, we supply all of our chemical with nozzles. The polyester has this clear tube with a black insert. The insert is there. It's got a reason. It's to mix the chemical as it comes out of the gun.
Okay.
All of the chemicals are 2-part adhesives, so it's got a resin and a hardener.
Yeah.
For the anchor to be effective, they need to mix together properly, and that's what this nozzle is designed to do.
You've had some clients in the past. Had some end users in the past. Not use that nozzle. Is that correct?
Yeah. Frustratingly, for good or for bad, the nozzle thread is the same thread as the silicon nozzle.
Yep.
So we've seen examples in the past where people will just get a silicon nozzle, put that on the tube, and then squirt it out. What we find is that that 2-part doesn't mix together. Yep. If it doesn't mix, it's not going to set. It doesn't actually harden.
Yeah.
So we've seen examples where guys will install, say 20, 30 anchors. They come by a week later and they say it hasn't set. It's all just goop in the hole.
Who are they? Is Hobson sending you out to have a look at that?
Oh, I've been out on site, yeah.
Yeah.
Or our cat manager.
That must be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. You question them up front when you get that phone call. You say, well, what have you gone? Have you followed all the steps? Yes,
Send me a picture of your nozzle, mate.
So, that's probably not as common. Probably the most common issue is hole cleaning.
Yep.
I've seen an example recently where it got to a legal case, but essentially they said the chemical wasn't sufficient for the loads.
Yep.
Except when you look at the failed anchors, there's dust all the way around the adhesive.
Yeah.
So obviously that haven't cleaned the hole properly. They haven't followed the procedure. The adhesive's just stuck to the dust, and then the anchor's
right
just
out.
pulled straight out. So,
Yeah, okay.
So each tube has the installation instructions. It all follows through to the ETA document, which is the European Technical Assessment.
Yep.
So that will go through what the product's suitable for, so all those approvals. It'll go through all the installation instructions, your drill diameters, how you need to clean that hole, how you need to place the material, and how long to cure. Installation instructions, and I think an important one as well is making sure you're running out enough chemical once you start. So if you've got a fresh tube, the chemical won't mix 100% to start off with, so we just run a couple of lines until you get a consistent colour.
Yep.
That tells you that it's been mixed properly and then you can use it.
That's pretty bloody important. And it says that on there?
Yes, so that's in the steps there to say, look, we've got a sort of a grey line or a different coloured line. We put across through that, and then once we've got a consistent colour, that's the tick, you're ready to go.
Yep.
With the polyester as well, we've got colour change technology in there. So it'll actually come out of the gun blue.
Yep. You did say that previously.
Yep, and then as it cures, it will go grey.
Awesome.
So yeah, so that blue colour will let you know it's mixed properly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Now onto our Vinylester. So that's the next step above the polyester. It's got a good mix of approvals. So this one's got approvals for cracked and non-cracked concrete and masonry.
Yep.
So it covers a little bit more bases. This one's approved also for 100-year design life. So if you're looking at those sort of infrastructure projects that you need 100-year design life, so some mainly tunnels, but some bridges are starting there.
Yep.
Some of those prominent buildings as well are starting to get into that 100-year design life as well.
Yep.
So the Vinylester is suitable for those jobs.
Same nozzles? Different nozzles?
Same nozzles. So it's got the mixed nozzle.
Yep.
And that will help mix that 2-part chemical.
I noticed that the end of the tube is offset. What's the go there? Is that going to fit in your normal caulking gun?
No, so this one is a 420 millimeter tube.
Okay.
Needs a specialised caulking gun.
Okay.
This product is offered in a 300 millimeter tube as well, so will fit a standard caulking gun.
Beautiful.
The larger capacity tubes are geared more for the specialist applicators that are fixing a lot of anchors.
Yep.
Obviously, we can fit more chemical in there. The more anchors you can install without having to change out or waste material as you run the material out.
Yep.
This one's also fire rated, so it will take a reduction in load, but it can withstand a fire load for a certain amount of time, about 180 minutes before with a reduced load. But yeah, if that's an application that you need, it's got that approval for it as well.
Yep.
We've got the curing times, similar curing times to polyester. So, to give an example, I think important to note is the temperature we're talking about is the concrete temperature.
Yep.
It's not the ambient temperature. So if we're looking at about a 19-degree concrete temperature, you've got 9 minutes to work with the product once you've placed it, and then it will fully cure in 60 minutes.
You want to make sure you've got all the necessary tools on site, ready to go?
That's right, yeah.
We start mucking around?
Yep. So colour change technology on this chemical as well. So we'll go from blue to grey once it's fully cured.
Okay.
And we go through the full installation instructions for for concrete on the tube as well. That's the Vinylester.
Yep.
I've got a hybrid as well, which is next to you there.
This one?
Yep. So hybrid's pretty much the first level we're getting to that real sort of engineering design. Its loading capacity is a little bit below that of the epoxy, which we'll get to. But it's probably got behind epoxy the most comprehensive approvals. Cracked, non-cracked concrete. We start to get into seismic approvals with this one. So for us, anchoring's split into C1 seismic and C2 seismic. This one has approvals for both. And this one also has approvals for dustless drilling. So when we say dustless drilling, we're talking about those sort of vacuum bits that are becoming more common on sites.
Yep.
We're seeing some sites and some tunnels mandate it. You know, once you're underground, you don't want to be drilling holes and sending dust through the chamber. So they say, look, use a vacuum drill, send the dust straight into the vacuum and make a safer environment for everyone. Yep. So that's got approvals for that.
That's awesome. That's important.
It is, definitely. I think in safety, I think silicosis is a big thing. Silicosis is possible with concrete as well. You know, not to the same extent as some of those bench tops.
Yeah.
But will still be a concern. And I think moving forward, I think it will be standardised that, you know, vacuum bits will be the norm.
Yep.
Curing time, you know, if we use that same 19-degree temperature, this one a little bit longer to work with. You got 15 minutes on this one instead of 9 with the Vinylester, and then it will set in 80 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one's only available in the 400 millimeter tube. So you need that specialist tool to install these ones.
Yep. Something else they can get from their preferred supplier?
Yeah, anyone that's selling the chemical will have access to those applicator guns.
Yep.
We sell other sort of accessories, so additional nozzles if you need them. We've got extension tubes if you've got very deep holes, things like piston plugs as well.
What's a piston plug?
So a piston plug's used for mainly overhead applications. It's like it says, it's like a piston. You put a plug, which is the diameter of the drill hole, all the way to the top of the hole. Then when you start injecting the chemical, it will push the piston downwards until you get to the depth you need. And then once you pull it out, then you can put the rod in.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So essentially holds the chemical in place and making sure you're applying it all the way to the bottom of the hole,
Yep.
which is sort of overhead, which is difficult to do without a piston plug.
Yep.
So, yeah. When we get to the epoxy's probably got the most approvals out of all of our chemical. Got the seismic ratings, cracked, non-cracked concrete, the dustless drilling, diamond drilling, if you're sort of coring holes.
Yep.
This one also has the longest working time. So what we find is in warmer climates, it's pretty much the preferred anchor.
So up north WA.
North WA, yeah. I mean, if we were using, say your concrete's 30 degrees, this will give you 20 minutes to work with. But the downside is it will cure in 16 hours.
Yep.
But if I grab a Vinylester and use that same example, 30 degrees, I've got 3 minutes. So that's 3 minutes after it comes out of the nozzle for you to put your rod in, make sure it's straight.
Yep.
But it will cure in 20 minutes.
Yeah, no time for mucking around. It's probably not for me.
No, that's right. So, yeah, what we find in those warmer climates, people tend to move towards those epoxies. For the colder climates, if you're sort of down south, the hybrid would probably be more beneficial for those guys.
Yeah, okay.
But it's got the highest load rating in concrete. So when we look at the ratings, we've got data sheets that will show you all of the essentially working loads in concrete.
Yep.
But
any good supplier will have those readily available online.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So for us, we split it into tensile capacity. So that's the load to pull the rod out of the concrete, and then shear capacity is essentially to push it off. Shear will come into play when you're sort of close to the edge of a concrete. You might, once you load it sideways, you'll blow the edge of the concrete out, and
Yep.
it'll sort of destroy the concrete. You'll lose your capacity. So important to note, all of our chemical can be used with pretty much any rod. So from 4.6 to 8.8 to stainless steel rods.
Yep.
We've got the approvals for those as well.
Oh, awesome. Far out. Look, Gav, thanks very much for coming in and spending the time with us today. Much appreciated. Thanks for the prizes as well for giveaways for people tuning into our channel. To everyone out there that's tuned in to watch this awesome episode, thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. If you've got any questions for Hobson Engineering, by all means, comment below and we can pass them on, or I'm sure Gavin in his spare time won't mind answering a few. Thanks very much.